Hello, everybody. My name's Tricia.
And I'm Tessa.
And welcome to Strong Female Lead. Hollywood has been telling us what is and isn't a strong female lead for as long as we can remember. But did they get it right? On this podcast, we take a look at the portrayal of female characters in movies and TV to create a social dialogue about representation of women in media. Today, we are covering a classic, Dirty Dancing. Woo!
We are shifting gears. We are going into another month. I think you'll catch on quickly, but also I just want to tell you because I'm just like overwhelmingly excited about April movies. Just like it is peak Tessa. I'm so jazzed about all these movies. They're all themed after dance movies because that is my youth. That is me all day, every day. I love dance movies. I don't feel like there's any that I haven't seen, and there's very few I wouldn't recommend. But on the top of that list, if for some reason you lived under a rock, you have no friends, you are a Gen Z person, haven't seen Dirty Dancing, and you Savannah Nights, you got to see the original. You got to go back. You got to see Swayze and all of his like godlike glory, and watch Dirty Dancing. I'm so excited, as you can tell, probably from my voice and how quickly I'm speaking.
For sure. Yeah, our theme for April is So You Think You Can Dance, and we're picking some of our favorite dance movies. And dance movies are so great because they're like another genre in and of themselves. It's not a musical. They're just expressing themselves with dance. So whenever there's some sort of like stressful moment or of conflict, it just comes out in dance. It's just like, I think that is what
can't get you there. And you just have to move your body with or without someone else to really just express yourself, get that across. And that just like speaks to my soul, because you know sometimes the words escape you and you just have to move, and yeah, you just have to.
You have to. It kind of makes me think, like, it sort of brings me a little bit back to West Side Story, but what if people, rather than, well, West Side Story there is violence, but what if people expressed their anger in dance? Like, it was just, okay, we're just having a dance off, you know, we're just getting the feelings out, we're doing it, and then maybe there's no resolution, but it's fine. Everything's out there. You got it all out.
I like that. I think people should put more of their aggression and energy into art. I feel like only good should come from it. You know, you're having a terrible day and like someone's just pissing you off and you just clear a little space in your studio apartment and you just dance it out for 30 minutes. Who doesn't feel better after? Who has never felt better after taking a little dance break? I remember in high school, I had a teacher who would like do a dance break, and just in the middle of class, if there was a lull, and the whole class would just start singing Build Me Up Buttercup. And it was just
what a great idea.
Yeah, it was just like somebody would start it and then she would play it, and then like we would just do that, and then like we'd be like refocused after we've gotten through Building Me Up Buttercup. Yeah, high school is interesting.
It's just energy. You just gotta like get it out.
Yeah,
it's nervous energy.
Yeah, I remember it was like right after lunch, so you have that like lunch energy. You just found out all the tea that was happening around the school, and just like we're listening in there, but we weren't there, so it was a good like bring everyone down, bring everyone back to the same level. So weird.
Yeah. I think that's brilliant, and I think we should have dance breaks or sing breaks during work. Now that I'm thinking about it, because on my own, I mean, I'm sure lots of people do this. Like, if I have emotion I need to get out, I'll put on some music if I'm driving in the car and, you know, sing to it. Or I'll have like a miniature dance off of my own at home. The song that, like, I go through periods where there's one song that I've been using. And lately I've been using Whole Celebrity Skin. That's been my dance off song. And then before that was Miley Cyrus, Can't Stop.
Okay.
Yes. I can't. Both of them, they just like, one of them's angrier, the other one's like, fuck off. I just love it.
Those. I like those. I feel like my musical tastes change with the seasons, and like every spring, it's like the 80s and early 90s is just like somehow always vibe. It just always is the vibe. I feel like my dressing, like this movie has like my fashion down to a T. I was like, I don't think there's been an outfit that's come across the stage that I don't currently own, that I could personally wardrobe the cast of Dirty Dancing in my own clothes. And I was like,
you have like those types of skirts and stuff?
Yeah.
Dirty Dancing?
Yeah, they sell them at like H&M.
Oh my God. Yeah,
like,
they probably do.
Yeah, totally. Got it in light pink also. So it's like
you need a tulle skirt and silver strappy sandals with a low enough heel that you can dance in.
Oh yeah, got those too. I'm ready for my time at the summer camp is what I'll bring back summer camp, make them for adults.
I know. I'd love to go to an adult summer camp. Right? I know they have them out there.
They must.
I mean, it's not like that unique of an idea. Maybe I'm going to look into something because camp, I mean, this was different. This was family camp, which admittedly I've never been to.
Yeah.
I didn't even know was a thing.
Especially when the 50s were supposed to be so safe. Like, it seems like if there was ever a time to send your kid away to camp, it would have been, during the pure good old days.
It's like family camp, a resort, like so happy. What?
Yeah. I always think that camp is so that parents can get away from their kids and pretend to be young still.
Right.
Yeah.
Sleepaway camp. Like, yeah. But this was a resort, just heavily structured.
Yeah.
Resort existence. Okay. So for those of you who don't know, we'll go over a little synopsis and then we'll pull out some of the themes of Dirty Dancing, as well as look into whether Baby is a strong female lead. So Dirty Dancing is a 1987 American romantic drama, written and directed and produced by people I don't know, and stars Jennifer Grey as Frances, quote unquote, Baby Houseman. And she's a young woman who falls in love with dance instructor Johnny Castle, who's played by Patrick Swayze, at a holiday resort. Okay, so that's what they call it, kind of like a holiday resort. Well, I mean, so what essentially happens is Baby gets there and she, all right, let's see. Okay, so she comes from an affluent family. The plot is, or the movie is based in the 60s, 1963 to be exact. And she comes from an affluent family. She's an idealistic teen. She's planning on going and joining the Peace Corps. Kind of interesting because she's not even, well, I think she's supposed to be 17. And so she hasn't even gone to college yet, but like they're talking about the Peace Corps like it's going to happen like the next day, which I find very interesting because I think she said she was going to school. But anyways, so then they go on a vacation at a Catskills resort, and her and her family, her parents, the dad, who, I mean, have we not seen this man on our screens like on and off throughout the years, this actor? Who is it? But he was so familiar, and that voice.
He looked so familiar, but
right? Oh, Jerry Orbach. I mean, the name doesn't help me, but the face and his voice is just like, yes, I've seen you. Yes, you are meant to play a dad, and yes, I may be closer in age to you at this time than I am, Baby. Which is disturbing, but totally fine. So Johnny Castle is sort of like a working class hero, right? Disguised as a dance instructor. And basically she sees what, there's the staff, and then there are the people that own the hotel or the resort management. And then there are the people that are visiting, and there's a lot of class dynamics going on. And Baby gets to see how the other half lives. After hours, she goes into the staff only hut where they are grinding. And that is where she gets into, she just starts a relationship with them, and then eventually is helping Penny, one of the lead dancers, get an abortion. And because she is helping her get an abortion by getting money for her to get it done, have the procedure done, there is a spot that needs to be filled in the final dance that has to happen at another hotel. So then she gets trained by Patrick Swayze to dance. So that's basically it. She's at a resort, she meets the staff, she gets trained to be a dancer to fill in for the spot of the other dancer who needs to get an abortion. And that's really it, with a couple of, things in there, but that's the plot. I don't know. Like, I thought they captured white Americana 60s very well, like the early 60s. Like, this is sort of like how my mom, she didn't have money like this, or wasn't in an affluent family like this, but this is the 60s my mom knows versus like the 60s of the hippies and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, this is what my mom is describing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think hippies, the 70s, peace and love and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I just like, for some reason, like resonate in my heart with like the late 50s, early 60s. Like, I just feel like I was born out of time. If I could have chosen, and even though I know my life would be worse, it just feels, it is vibe. It is the music. Everything is just, I'm just born out of place. But yeah, it would be. So actually, thanks. But
yeah, I'm kind of surprised to hear you say that, but I do. You like sort of. It's very innocent. It has a bit of an innocent vibe.
Yeah. It's, talk about living in a bubble. You see what you want to see, which is kind of like her bubble is being burst. Baby's bubble is being burst when she's met with the working class difficulties. And it's really interesting to watch this movie for, I think, maybe the 12th time, 14th time, probably. And like each time I watch it, I just, like you're saying, like now I'm closer to the parents' age than baby's age. But it's also interesting to see the other female characters, to really like look at them, what they're representing. Because Baby's the only one who's up for an SFL, but I did think that Penny and even Lisa, her sister, were very interesting characters that I never paid attention to in terms of their storylines. Because I just like, I was just like, oh, she's got problems. Like, sorry, Penny, back to Baby. Like, just very like dismissive of her as a character and as somebody, whose story is worth listening to. And then Lisa, who gets kind of the worst treatment of the whole movie, but is also the most honest, the most self-aware, even though she's like, putting herself out there in ways that I don't understand, but
yeah, like fucking dance the song, the I'm like, I can't. I like, at first it was catchy, and then it went on for so long, and then I was like, I need this to stop.
Yeah. Bad lip syncing that everyone was doing, and I was like, or is the movie just that old that the audio is just not matching up with their mouths? But I was like, no, I think that they're lip syncing the songs.
Maybe.
Them.
I didn't know. I thought she was singing it. I was like, oh, she's actually a good singer, but the song is terrible.
Yeah, the song is terrible. But I was just like, she's like just slightly behind the song. And I was like, what's happening? Is it my TV? Is it just,
moving
recording
awkwardly?
Who knows?
And she's so sexualized, the sister, but like only at certain times. Like, I was just like, whoa, with that bikini during the talent show. like, hey mama. And then, but then I'm just kind of confused by her.
Yeah, I was like, this looks like Sarah Silverman's eldest sister. Like, it is an uncanny resemblance between that woman and Sarah Silverman. I was like, what?
I know.
How are they not related? How am I did look, and they apparently are not related. But I was like, that is an uncanny resemblance. But I agree. Like her, she was allowed to be much more provocative in her wardrobe than Baby, but maybe, you know, with the name, comes the outfits. Baby dressed extremely modestly, where it seemed like it was nothing for Lisa to wear that bikini. Didn't seem like she was worried about what her dad was going to think or what the mom was going to think of her song.
Like, how much older was she supposed to be? Because it came across like she was a lot older, but I can't imagine there was that much of a difference in age. Like, it couldn't have been more than like 3 years or something, which I guess is a lot when you're younger, but I still felt like she was a teen. So even less than 3 years.
Yeah, I definitely always assumed that they were like pretty close in age, like 17 and 19.
God, but a world of difference though. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. But I also thought it was interesting, like, makes the comment that like, what is she gonna do? Like, go to the Peace Corps, and then she says what Lisa's gonna do, and she said she's gonna decorate it, like kind of poking fun at like a feminine job, like an insignificant job in Baby's eyes. And I was like, I don't like that. I don't like toxic masculinity coming out through women. No, baby. If she wants to be an interior designer or a housewife or whatever, that's totally fine.
But that's like not, so in the 80s when this is made, well, and granted it was based in the 60s, but we are still struggling, I think, to come full circle in that respect for someone, a woman, to choose a domestic life or to choose more of a domestic or feminine career. The only way to like rail against it is to tear it down. You know, like we just haven't, we haven't even gotten there yet. Like, it's just, now we at least get to see a girl who doesn't want that life. It's like the start of it. But then it's like, but you don't need to make like the sister a total dope, because she might not, but we're just not there yet.
It was like, you know, obviously it's a period piece, and that, you know, 1987 is not 2021. But it is interesting.
Period piece.
What do they call like female movies, like period pieces? Like that seems like a more appropriate title than a chick flick or something. Like, oh, you're watching a period piece. Like
anything, anything Jane Eyre. Yeah, anything Jane Eyre is called a period piece. But you're right. It should just be about a bunch of girls who are on the rag, just like hanging out together. Like, that's what this is.
I mean, like, we could rename the podcast. I would probably advocate for period piece.
Oh my God, that is really funny. And actually, it has me questioning, like, you know, classic rock and oldies and that kind of thing. Like, what are we going to start? When is our stuff oldies? Or
now.
Do we just never? Are we never oldies? Like, I mean,
we're oldies now. Gen Z is like lightly trolling us. Well, I think like they're mostly trolling like 90s teens. My time is coming. I think when the zeitgeist changes over to like the early 2000s being like, you know,
they're trolling us.
Well, right now, like Gen Z, it seems like what is very like in terms of like disco girls and like just the TikTok styling aesthetic is very much like the early 90s. It hasn't quite gotten to the 2000s yet. And then I'll be like, fuck you, Gen Z. Fuck you.
Yeah, don't.
It's not vintage. Right. Still so authentic.
You're right. Like, when people are treating that as like vintage, ooh, it's, you know, it's coming back. I'm like, it never left.
Come on now.
Your original what?
501 Levi's 501s. I'm like, I got these from my mom's closet when she was a teen. Shut up. You're 12. That means your mom's in her 30s. Shut up.
We are oldies, but like, when will it be termed that? Right? Like, what happens to the 60s music and 50s music when we're oldies? You know what I mean? Like, it's already a genre. Like, classic rock doesn't even make sense. I'm not even sure what classic rock is. I mean, I know it, I think, when I hear it, like bands, but it just means older rock. Like, I don't, like, who fits into it? Is it just, I don't know. I don't get it. This movie just made me feel those types of pains where I was like, I just want to go to sleep. Like the dad was going to sleep. Or when the kids were out, I'm like, aren't they exhausted after a full day's work? Jesus. Hanging out till all hours? Oh. To be that young again, though, youth is wasted on the young. That is like I think that's a quote or some sort of saying, but like, you just don't recognize the energy and the amount of things and just like your ability to sort of do whatever you want. It's wasted on them. They just want to be older. And I want to go back to myself and be like, no, you don't. Like, just stay out till 3 a.m. Just enjoy it, and being able to get up the next day at like 7. Just do it.
You could do that now.
I could, but I pay for it though. It's just not the same. It's not the same.
I feel like I can still do it. I feel like I haven't rounded that curve yet. I'm at the very peak. The highest point you could get to.
Good for you.
From here. I think I
definitely
got one or two more years in me of rallying around.
I was doing it later. I mean, I kept doing that into my late 20s, early 30s. A lot of still like going out, waking up, barely crawling into work sort of thing. Like, I went on a lot longer than I realized, and now I'm like, how? But so again, we just end up talking about how we're old, but really watching these movies like that I saw when I was younger, watching them now, it really makes me feel old, because we're older than all of the primary characters that we were looking up to for so long. Like, Johnny Castle was supposed to be in his his late 20s. He was clearly mid 30s. Like, there was no question about it.
It's like
no question.
Oh.
Well, shit. I mean, what's the other thing in this? Okay, class. There's definitely, we brought it up, but this movie deals with privilege for sure, and class, and accessibility, and money, and what that means in terms of defining people as like worthy or unworthy. And we see that very clearly with the terrible, terrible son of the owner.
What was wrong with
him? Ew, really? Like, he just had an air about him. He definitely thought he definitely looked down on the staff. That was clear to me.
I don't know. I was like,
what was wrong with him? It was disgusting.
I feel like he was like not looking down at him, but like not knowing how to mark his territory with Baby and exert his interest in her, and not taking a hint that she wasn't interested. It seems like, what I want is, it's what's good for the goose is good for the gander, but like not counting on Baby not being gander. Like, she doesn't want whatever you're selling, sir. But like in the beginning, I was like, I don't know if he's lying or he's just saying this because he knows that she's interested in social justice shit. But he's like, oh, after this, I'm going to go on like the freedom rides. And I was like, it's 1963. He's going on freedom rides. I was like, I don't really 100% believe you, but like, if it's true, I'm like, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you're not just like talking the lamest game. Because if that's not true, whoa.
Oh my God. I didn't think that made up at all when he made up for the fact that he made that comment. Someone asked, what does that guy have that this guy doesn't? 2 hotels. Fuck that. Out. He was out. He was out for me. I do not like that. I do not like that game that like you deserve all this stuff when you came into it, just no awareness of it. And then Robbie, I mean,
Rob, the problem. He was the problem child. I'm like, oh.
He was way worse. He was way worse. But like, it was fascinating. So Robbie is the, so then there's levels of staff, right? So there's like the catering and the waiters, but they're not considered like the working class staff, right? Because they're all sort of like doing it for the summer, it seems. So it seems like the working class staff is really like the dancers or the people like running the activities, it seems. But Robbie got Penny pregnant. And then we see the class situation because he's still trying to get into her sister's pants. And the dad is cool with him being around and hanging out and sort of courting his daughter. But in the end, the dad ends up stepping in to help Penny because, abortion at this time is not legal in New York and really not legal or accessible or safe in a lot of areas. So someone else comes and does it, and he ends up taking care of her, thinking and assuming that it was Patrick Swayze, so that someone could only get pregnant by someone else who is part of the working class. And then all of this, like, who did this to her? It's just such a very old school way of looking at it, meaning like, did it to her? What?
I think he was talking to about the abortion. Like, who did this? Like, who attempted this abortion and botched it? Not like, whose baby is this?
So I thought he meant the baby because he said it to Pat. Okay, so I thought he meant the baby. Like, who did this to her? Who's responsible for her? Who got her pregnant? Because I did get a feeling that, at least based on my interpretation, that, at that time, it makes sense in the 80s and then especially in the 60s, but there's no level of, like, pregnancy is something that's done to a woman. It's not like you got pregnant. It's like you did this, right? You did this, and now you're trying to hang out. But no, because I think he did mean Patrick Swayze, because then he said something about him wanting to then hang out with his daughter after he did this to Penny. I just think it's an interesting, like, very old school, like, patriarchal sort of, it's this patriarchal way of viewing it, like he's protective of the women in his life, and the pregnancy is being done to someone, yet they don't have access to, be able to have like an abortion in a medically safe environment. I don't know. It's just like, my brain just gets broken with like just the backwards thinking. Although the dad is a wonderful character, like in like just overall, I think he's really good. And he has like a pretty good arc as her father and like understanding, but I'm still like, ooh. I don't know. Yeah. Does any of that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I really like the dad's character. And I know, like, well, I don't know from personal, I've never been a dad. That's what I'll say. But, my own experience with my own dad, that transition from, like, you're a little girl to, like, close the door on that in some ways. Like, you'll always be your dad's little girl, but like, I'm not a little girl. As baby was trying to so gently tell him. But then it is like, it's weird when the spotlight of your parents is no longer on you, even though you want it. And then, and then you get it and you're like, what are you doing? That was a test. It failed. The spotlight is always on me. I am the light of your eyes.
Right.
And then you're not. And you have to kind of like, sit in your decision. You have to grow up. But it is always sad. So I mean, I hate seeing sad dads. But this transition had happened. She can't be her little girl for forever. I'm sure you want better for her. And Swayze's a nice guy. You'll never go wrong with Swayze. I love Swayze. I love Swayze. I love him. I love him. I love him in this movie. I love him in Roadhouse. I'm just so disappointed that the Swayze brand of masculinity didn't catch on as fast as like the Steven Seagal, the Van Damme, the Schwarzenegger brand of masculinity with all the war movies that were coming out, around the same time.
Why can't we just have a rough around the edges dancer, man? Like, why does it have to be, why can't he still move?
Yeah. Why, when I ask you how you feel, can you not just tell me? Even if you just put on a record and danced, I would catch a vibe instead of just like, brooding in the corner, never saying anything and having that be the model of masculinity that a generation of men, take to heart. And I was like, man, if people would have just gotten on the Swayze train, like every woman did.
For sure. Like, you're right. He didn't really talk. He didn't really talk about his feelings, but he danced his feelings. He did. When they would get into an argument, he'd be like, let's get out of here. And then they go and do something. And they kind of like, they start walking across that tree limb or whatever.
I thought he was very affirming to her. Like when she would say something semi-self-deprecating, he would immediately combat it. And I was like, look at that. A man saying how he feels and being encouraging, being supportive, protecting her emotionally. Like, oh, damn, Swayze did it again. Like,
he was a little tough on her with teaching her at first. Because it started with like, I mean, let's be honest. He was a bit of an asshole to her at first and kind of like sneering at her. And it was like his issue with privilege. And her, and like, what's she doing here?
Doesn't have privilege, has an issue with privilege.
Right. So he has an issue like, why are you even here? And then, okay, you're going to have your dad pay to do this. Great. Then he's sort of like, he wants her to get the money, right? He's thankful for the money, he wants Penny to get it, but he also doesn't like how she got it. But now he has to work with her to teach her dancing. And he was like, he was a little like, meh, meh, meh. Like a bit of a dick in the beginning, and then he just
on her rich girl like poverty tour. I would feel the same way. I'm like, this girl from the
rich girl poverty tour.
That's exactly what it was. She just wants to hang out with like us, like less fortunate cool kids. Like whoever is the cool one is always the lesser privileged person. Like this, I don't believe that there are any rich cool people. Like in my opinion, it doesn't exist.
Interesting. I mean, it's definitely like the bad boy kind of thing. Yeah. Like it's more exciting. There's less rules, right? Like it's not the same standard in terms of like perfection and stuff. And
yeah. Ugh.
Oh my God. But how about, I mean, let's just take a moment. How about Swayze's sexy dancer sympathy tour about the lovely ladies using him?
I thought that was sad and pretty gross.
I mean, but it goes both ways. Like she was right. You're using them and he's like, they're using him. They're both using each other. Like I don't think he was looking for like a matriarch.
I mean,
like sexing people to find his sex mommy. Like,
wasn't he though? Wasn't that exactly what he was doing, trying to find a sex mommy? Like, I feel like that's actually way more common. Maybe it's just 2021 male, but I'm like, finding a sex mommy and then all of a sudden you've got a side chick seems extremely prevalent to have. Like, oh, I have a sex mommy who's stable and then I have a side chick who's wild. Which is kind of the dynamic that arose, I don't know. I felt bad for Swayze. I don't know. I just believe him. I was like, I believe everything you're saying right now, Swayze.
Wouldn't lie to me. Yes. I mean, let's just be honest. It is very difficult to separate Swayze from his characters. I truly think that I don't even commit those people.
I don't even commit their names to memory. He's just always Swayze, eternally cool. Like,
I know. And I believe him too. I know that he's struggling and he probably is finding some comfort for sure. But I was just kind of like,
true. I could see his story being true, especially for the first few times it happens where you're, teaching dance and then someone's showing an interest in you, especially, someone from the other side of the track, somebody who is seen as good and privileged, sees something in you, the lesser, person who's from the streets, probably had a relationship with his parents if he has parents. Like,
they smell so good, and they take care of themselves.
That's
because they have the time and the money. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, to have somebody like that take an interest of you, like if the situation again was reversed and it was like a Beauty and the Beast scenario, where like, why ever would a Belle character be with a beast? Well, he is rich as fuck. Yeah, he's got all the trappings of like a beautiful life that you could have together. You don't know who has the money in those scenarios.
I just found it difficult to believe that he wasn't getting anything out of it. I just thought there was a bit of like, I get it, I understand, but like, okay.
Yeah.
You're like, just for you the whole time. I mean, you can admit that maybe you wanted sex, also. Yeah. But how about that rich bitch who then tries to get him fired because she sees him kissing our little baby?
I was like, oh man, Karen, who invited you? Like,
I know. My God, that was a Karen moment, 100%. And now let's talk about just baby's name. What do you feel about her being called Baby? Like this character being Baby and then so clearly sexualized, right?
I didn't make a connection between those things.
She was. Never
until that her name was Baby. I was like, Frances isn't a great name, so no offense to the Franceses out there of the world, but like, what were her other options? Franny?
I mean, I'm sure there are other options other than Baby. I'm just wondering about the decision. I know she's supposed to be really innocent, naive, etc. And then she's meeting these people that are older, and then she's kind of like becoming a woman. Mm-hmm. But it's like it's a little disturbing. But then I wondered, like, as I was watching the last scene, I had the time of my life. Like the last word of the song was Baby, and I was like, did they just choose it for that?
Probably. There are quite a few songs where Baby is
right
repeated.
Like, so yeah, exactly. I'm like, I think they chose it for the music.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the soundtrack banging, so I don't fault them for making that choice. It sounded amazing. So if that's it. I mean, I feel like it's a weird nickname to take with you at high school.
Yeah.
I feel like it's weird to have everyone call you Baby. It'd be one thing if Swayze called her Baby, because acknowledging the age difference, joking about the age difference, but to also have your family call you that is weird.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And there's this funny article basically about how the person hated Dirty Dancing. And she didn't think that it was a strong, Baby's character was a strong female lead, but she, oh God, what does she say?
Is this someone from the film or?
No. Just a random person. And it's an article, and she writes about the nobody puts baby in a corner line. And this was pretty funny. It says, after assuming all these years that it was Baby, because she had never seen it, she just watched it, like, I don't know, a couple years ago. After assuming all these years that it was Baby who said this line, since, the movie is about her, in a moment of defiance, I was shocked to discover it was in fact Johnny. And he says it totally unprompted. Yes, her dad is telling her how to live her life. Yes, she is physically sitting in a corner at the time. But come on. I was like, that is actually kind of funny. Like, she is just sitting in the corner seat. I forgot that was when it was said. I thought it was said after Penny says, go back to your playpen. Like, I thought it was something around there, but no, it's at the end. She's just sitting there. I love it. Come on, that's hilarious.
I mean, I think it would be so good for her to say it in the third person. Nobody, like the Terminator, nobody puts baby in a corner. Like, that sounds sounds even stranger.
Why couldn't she? Johnny spoke in third person. He's all, Johnny's here. Johnny's gonna take care of you to Penny. Why can't she do it? I know there's no other way. It's just a very interesting.
Go it one way. Like, well, that would be weird. Why would she say that about herself? Just don't sit in a corner, dummy.
What if she did say? I know there's no right way for the term to be said, like in a way that just isn't hilarious this day and age. But it just, yeah, like what if she was like, I don't like the corner seats.
Yeah.
Daddy. Get me out of this corner of the room. I love being in the corner.
No.
Yeah, I don't like being blocked, but I like to have like full view.
Oh, okay.
You know, I like to see what I'm working with in a room.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to get that is being in the corner. Yeah.
I get that.
Well, like my back to a door, people. You don't know what's going to happen.
Hey. I don't mind back to the door if I trust who's sitting in front of me.
To let you know.
Yeah. Like, just say duck and we're good.
Oh God. You're not going to like this person's commentary of Swayze. She said, Johnny only has 3 speeds: indignant, mean, and sexy dancer. Would you agree with that? Probably not.
What were the 3?
Indignant, mean, and sexy dancer.
I mean, I don't disagree. I think he had a bit more emotional range than just those 3 statements, but okay. I can see, I can imagine him in all 3 of those modes, 100%, like indignant in the beginning. But I at least would want to recognize that means that his character is changing, unlike some of the other characters.
Oh, really? I like that. I like thinking of it like an actual like robot with 3 speeds. Oh. And the last one's just like awesome dancer.
That would be a setting. I wish I had that setting.
Sexy dancer setting.
Yeah. I could just turn that on like from, sundown Friday through the weekend. I'm just in sexy dancer setting.
Yes. Sexy dancing while doing your laundry, just like you sexy dance while having serious conversations.
Yeah. Sexy
dance at home for Sunday dinner with your family.
Just body and actual roles.
Okay. All right. So strong female lead. On this podcast, we have 3 criteria in determining whether or not a female lead is in fact a strong female lead. This is our criteria, okay? We don't claim to have the only criteria for this. Don't get mad at us. So the first first criteria is this female, top build. Second is, do they have agency? And then third, do they move the plot along? Baby's an SFL, at least to me. What do you think?
I agree. I like the character of Baby. I think she is just a really good character. I really appreciate, I feel like, somehow this movie holds up, and I really feel like it's because Baby uses her privilege she leverages her privilege to help people. Even if it's not done perfectly, she's doing what people who are in underprivileged situations ask people with privilege to do. And so I can only be appreciative of that. But it also makes me slightly angry that if this narrative was written in the 1980s, why has it been missed so regularly when I feel like this is so much a part of so many people's regular viewing. But if this gets people to watch it again with some new eyes on it, her behavior towards people who are in this situation underprivileged does not.
Wait, can you explain to me, sorry, what do you mean by this being in the 80s and people missing it? What can you clarify?
I mean, just if a story like this was written in the 1980s and it's been so regularly viewed. Like I would say that this is an American classic, how the lessons of this have been missed, or some lessons overlooked, or maybe, misunderstood. Because, I've seen this movie like 15 times, and I think that this is the first time I was like, oh, she's doing the thing. What we like that people want people in privileged situations to do. Like, we don't, we're not saying, give up everything you have unless it's, really affecting people in a negative way. But like, if you have an opportunity to, use your position, like, go get your dad. Yeah, it's the hard thing to do. You have to admit things that maybe are uncomfortable, and put yourself in a situation that, you are kind of losing something, but that what you're gaining and what you're helping people do is worth it. You saved her life potentially.
For
literally.
sure. I mean, yeah, she did. She saved her life. Well, yeah, she and her dad ended up doing. And then she also spoke up as Johnny's alibi. And that couldn't have been easy to do, because that was right after her dad was basically like, I don't know who you are, and I don't want you being around them. And so then she had to kind of like put herself in the position of disappointing him again. And it seemed like that was really hard for her. But, and it's got to be. But yeah, for a young one, I mean, I was impressed.
Yeah, I definitely an SFL. I think that she uses her agency brilliantly. I like that she sticks up for herself. She gets frustrated with Swayze and says that she's frustrated with him. And I was like, yes, bitch, like say that shit. And then, and I think that that's part of where he, part of his indignant reactions, like, you're just a spoiled brat, comes from. And I'm like, but even that softens as his, character has his arc. And I was like, I am fine with that being your approach at the beginning, as long as it's not your approach at the end. If you want it to be a successful character arc, like
it's not his approach at the end.
It's not. It's, you let me into your world, and I've finally let you into mine. Like, he's very standoffish, and I'm like, I feel like that's a common male character trait. But yeah, I love Baby. An SFL. Yeah. What did you think? Or have any?
I mean, I definitely thought she was a strong female lead, and that says a lot. Because, I mean, I have to, God, we should have an 80s. Oh, now this is just making me think we need to dive into 80s movies and see how common it is. Because I don't remember thinking that strong female leads were very common, like in the Brat Pack movies and stuff. They were mostly male focused, except for like maybe Pretty in Pink. I don't know. But so anyways, I think this was a great strong female lead in general. And, really great, seeing as it was, it came out in 87. I think and there's movies out now that can't even get close to this, for whatever parts may be problematic or whatever. I mean, she definitely has a very insulated life, and that's clear, but like what she does within that is a lot.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. It's like,
it's not her problem that she has an insulated life. Like, it's not her fault at this point, right? Like, she's getting older, and she's choosing to seek out experiences and people that are different from her. You only have so much control when you're under like the control of your parents. So she's doing it now, like what we want people to do.
I mean, it would be so interesting to see like how her life turns out, or like if there was like a follow-up movie. I would be so like how she deals with the increasing decisions that she's making. Like, say her and Swayze stay together, and she's giving up a life of privilege, because that is definitely not a life that Swayze can provide to her, the lifestyle that she's grown up accustomed to. And so I would love to see that relationship dynamic play out, probably turn into something like a Marriage Story. And so
it would turn bad. It would turn bad.
I mean,
that's why they have to end it. They have to end it before anything actually develops, because they're ending on the high note. They're ending on they're still infatuated with each other. Done. So we can all think, That's what relationships are like.
Yeah.
If they moved in together, shit would be getting crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's also perfect. And I was like, you could make the case that Baby's using him just as much as he's using her, because she's off. She's going to the Peace Corps. She's going, to, I don't know. I said Southeast Asia, but I was like, so she's out of here. So she's in it. She's got a timeline. She's got a ticking clock. So no matter what she does right now, she's gonna come out looking like the good guy because she's got this exit plan. So
she had an exit already set up.
I'm back adjudicating on the behalf of Swayze. And I'm like, if we were gonna, cast anyone as a victim, we could also consider Swayze as, Baby is leaving, and she's used him probably the most successfully of anyone at the club, in terms of like getting not only free dance lessons, but and skill and talent, praise, and now she's leaving him in the exact, and he's his job, like he put it all on the line for this relationship. So kudos to him.
How abusive, baby. How abusive. I mean, okay, devil's advocate. We all know there's just, this is like a couple weeks? How long are they there? Like everyone knows that.
Yeah.
This has a beginning and an end.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I think Patrick Swayze seems genuine from the very beginning in terms of how he acts with her. At first, he doesn't like her just because, and then he likes her. But we also have the background of the staff being encouraged to basically have sex with the daughters and to make them feel special by the owner, who says something to all of them. Huh?
I thought he said, "Don't touch this." I thought weren't they all in like a team meeting and Swayze was there and they're like, you're a counselor, not a staffsman. Like, I don't know. And it was
then they were telling the other staff, like the Robbies, to, make them feel special, sweeten them up. I mean, basically, I think what he was saying.
Okay.
He was saying, do it, don't do it. Like, basically, like make them feel special, et cetera, et cetera. Don't let me catch you with the other stuff, but do whatever needs to be done. That's sort of the message I was getting. But yeah, Swayze was known for doing it. But like, I don't know. So we could have thought maybe he was using her at first. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Interesting. Because I definitely didn't take it that way. I was like, oh, good thing we're talking about it, because I didn't take it that way. I thought that it was like people were making assumptions about Swayze because he's the bad boy dance instructor. But then it does come out that like, okay, there's a little cause for this rousing at the beginning. Like, you're not that innocent. And I'm like, at what point? Okay, yeah. I was like, how long are they here? Is this 2-week camp? But
I have no idea. I thought it would just be like a week, but I'm like, that is just so much. That's a lot to happen.
In a week, yeah.
Like a lot.
I was like, what is the timeline on this abortion? When does she find out? And then she has to learn all of this. So some sort of dance intensive program that he was hosting just for Baby, and then abortion, like it's like a Sunday to Sunday thing, because that is an intense.
I thought it was a couple of days.
Do you think so?
From when he had to teach her. I could be off though.
It was maybe weeks, and I was like, I guess you technically have some time between when you find out you're pregnant and when you get the abortion. Technically,
that's what makes you think, right, that it happened so quickly, is because she, like, the only time she could get the abortion was, like, oh, someone's coming by, they're in here for a night. I'm like, has anyone? I mean, I know you really want an abortion,
and why isn't that like? It's like, what is this traveling abortionist, and why isn't that like a play? What's happening? Why would they be coming to your tiny like town, and this is the only spot that's available? Like, what? I don't get it. Because I'm like, if they're just going into New York is always going to be there. Again, why the time? Why the timeline? Why
the urgency? Like,
I don't get it.
Because it's already going to be done like under the radar, so it doesn't really matter how far along you are. You know what I mean? You're not like making a legit appointment here, and then you have to like, you know, then there's restrictions on how far along you have to be. But the traveling abortionist, and then also, why are they shocked? You had a dirty knife and a folding table. I was like, dude, I mean,
that's again what makes me think that this is like a mobile operation. Like he has like a pickup truck from 1957, and he's just coming up and down the camp. He's just like, I know camp when I see them, and someone is going to need an abortion. So like, it should be a kind of a lucrative business. Like you get your registration out of an abortion state, then you just like casually roll through Texas. I don't know.
Oh God. Oh God. Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder if Planned Parenthood has thought of that.
I wish we would have met this traveling abortionist. Why'd they have to keep this character hidden?
That is an underground musical that I would 100% attend. 100%. Like the traveling abortionist is just the Music Man, just way darker.
Oh shit. It is so dark. So dark. But
Oboes on Ice, that would be interesting.
Oh my God. Oh my God. And just the costuming.
Go back to season 1, guys.
I was gonna say, yeah, and the costuming, and yeah, you guys, the traveling abobo. It's just, oh yeah, wow. I think that's a good place to end. I think we can leave everybody.
Yeah.
With that in mind. Hopefully this, you know, creates some, maybe you get some creative energy, folks. You just, someone come up with that script.
Yeah.
Send it our way.
Yeah, send it our way. We'll do a reading. Assuming it's good, we'll do a reading.
Oh, right. No, there's definitely, yeah. It needs to be worth our time.
Yeah, at least
okay,
like, come on now.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Come on now.
All right. Well, I think that's it.
Yeah. What would you rate this movie? We're like 50. We're like, what is this, episode 8? We're like 50% on giving ratings.
I know. Season 3, we keep forgetting to give ratings. I mean, you know, I thought I wasn't gonna love it watching it again.
Mm-hmm. Because
sometimes movies just don't do it for me, the ones that I remember loving.
Yeah.
I guess it should have 4 out of 5, man. Dirty Dancing holds up in terms of entertainment. Like, it was great.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. Well, I'm going to give it 4 stars and then a Swayze, which is like an Oscar. So, you know, other movies aren't qualified to have a Swayze and are undeserving of a Swayze. So it's like a special award that this movie gets.
Is it only for Swayze movies? Or is it something you can give to any?
Yeah, actually, if I see another movie there that has the swagger of a Swayze, the danceability of a Swayze, I would consider extending that award to other films. But right now, Dirty Dancing is the only movie worthy of a Swayze.
I am curious if any other of our April movies are going to be deserving of a Swayze.
I've got hopes for at least one other. One other one has a very promising young actor in it who I think may be worth of Swayze. We'll see if it holds up. It might not hold up.
Swayze potential.
Yeah, I see potential in one other movie.
Oh God, R.I.P. man.
R.I.P.
Swayze, yeah. This did make me sad a little bit also watching this. I was like, we just don't have that anymore.
We really don't.
Well,
Hollywood, there's
Hugh
room for Swayze.
Hugh Wolverine. He has a bit of but he's got the danceability. He's got that masculine dance, but it's more like Broadway.
He's like a Sinatra. Like he's too smooth. Like he doesn't have the rough edges unless he's Wolverine. And then he's all rough edges.
I'd like to see like Wolverine plus dancing.
Yeah.
You know, but him on his own, yeah, it's theatrical, and Swayze's not theatrical. He's a dancer.
Yeah. There really isn't. I'm trying to think of like one person who would be, you know, if they just completely remade this movie, who would you cast? It would have to be an unknown, like, which could be exciting.
Oh,
maybe
and
Kevin
did we not?
Federline.
Oh, Kevin Federline.
Yeah, he's rough around the edge, but also a dancer.
It would probably have to be a backup dancer.
Yeah. What are Britney's kids doing? How old are they? Aren't they like teens?
Wait, and have we not mentioned Johnny's mullet? Because it doesn't really...
Conservative short mullet.
Because it didn't really register that it was a mullet to me until the very end. And I was like, oh, did I ignore that?
It was like business in the front and then a cocktail party in the back because it was like very short. And I was like, I love it.
It was very short. It was like he just hadn't cut it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay. Oh my God. Everybody, well, you can find us on Instagram at Strong Female Pod. We want you guys to leave comments, leave suggestions, let us know what you think. Do you think Swayze deserved a Swayze in this? What do you think about it? Did Swayze deserve a Swayze? What is this? Yeah, just leave us your thoughts.
Yeah. Everything Tricia just said, and then so just, you know, go ahead and tweet it at us too. We're SFL_Chicago on Twitter. Always looking for those recommendations. If you have a dance movie that you think that we should do, then also leave that. We've got some really exciting episodes that I really want to tell you about. It's been very hard to not just immediately tell you. I feel like we're close like that, and so I should be able to tell you all my secrets, but I will keep this one for now. As it causes me anxiety.
You
but
can
we also
tell them if you want to.
surprise. Oh, it's a surprise.
Okay.
A special guest coming up in April, and so we're doing some collabs, and that'll be really exciting too as those come up. Also, I do have just a little bit of news. Friend of the pod, the original podfather, Andrew, who you've heard in the Star Wars Rogue One episode from season 1. He and I are doing a little side project about the Mighty Ducks series that's on Disney Plus right now. Absolutely nobody asked for it, but we're giving it to the public just because we're so excited about it. I love the Mighty Ducks. He loves the Mighty Ducks, and it's a good time. So the podcast is just called This Is Ducks, and just look for it in all your streams. I'm sure we'll put it on social media that it's coming out. But if you just want to laugh, or if you somehow didn't know that Mighty Ducks is making a reboot and it's on Disney Plus at this moment, so check it out.
I love it.
Okay, that's it. We're out,
guys. We're out. Until next time.
Bye.